We're back now at 8:35 with Oscar-nominated actor James Franco, star of the highly anticipated movie Rise of the Planet of the Apes. He plays Rodman, a scientist who works for a pharmaceutical company and is raising a chimp named Caesar as his own. But when Caesar gets too big, Will's forced to put him in a primate facility. Take a look.
Caesar! It's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be okay. You're gonna stay here now. No. We're not going home right now.
In our experience, the longer you drag out the goodbyes, the harder it is.
James Franco, good morning.
Good morning.
I watched that, and you have to remind yourself, this is an actor playing that character of Caesar. Just explain to the viewers the technology that's involved here.
Yeah, well, to me, I'll sound like a bit of a nerd, but to me, the most interesting aspect of making this film was the way they were going to capture the chimpanzees. So the great actor Andy Serkis, who created the role of Gollum in The Lord of the Rings and King Kong, plays Caesar. He is on set with me for every scene. He wears kind of gray pajamas with wires all over them.
These are like motion sensors.
Right. So he looks nothing like an ape on set, but he's so good. He's the master of this kind of work, and so he's so good at the chimpanzee behavior that you kind of forget what he's wearing and you act with him like he's an ape.
But typical of you, you're giving credit somewhere else. The fact is you've got to act with this guy with wires all over him, and you've got to stay in the idea of what's imaginary in this scene.
Yeah, but it's actually not that large of a leap because, like, in a normal scene, if I was with somebody playing my brother, who's obviously not my brother, as long as he's a good actor, you kind of fall into the relationship.
But he looks like a human being. This guy doesn't look like an ape.
I think you go on behavior just as much as appearance. And so Andy is so good at the behavior, you fall into that kind of relationship. And, you know, we respond to each other based on a lot of things. So it was easy to kind of fall into it.
I think it'll be also easy for audiences to go in and see this movie and get wowed by the technology and what you guys are able to accomplish in the movie-making side of this. But there's also a message to this movie. I'll give you my summation of it, and you can correct me and tell me where I'm wrong. But it's a little bit like, you know, careful what you wish for in terms of technology and science, because you can embrace parts of it that simply aren't going to take you down the right road.
That's true. That is in there. Although
partial credit.
What? No. That's in there. That's what happens. You know, the scientists are testing on chimpanzees, and things go wrong, and you know, there's some disastrous results. But to me, that's kind of a premise for, you know, telling this great story. In fact, I see this Apes movie and all the Planet of the Apes movies as not to be read so literally. It's best read if the apes and the humans interacting is kind of an analogy for how we treat other groups. And in this movie, apes are kind of a group that are repressed. And so it's a great situation to show what happens to a repressed group.
And what happens, without giving anything away, there's a pretty amazing revolution scene in this one. It takes me back to the first Planet of the Apes. Came out in 1968. I was 11. I saw that movie. I didn't sleep for 3.5 years. I mean, it freaked me out. How high would you say the freak out factor in this movie is for the average viewer?
It's actually, for a summer movie, it's much more human. It tells a story about human characters, and one of the responses I've heard a lot from people that have seen it is I was surprised by how much I felt. And so actually it's not a kind of a freak out movie as much as it has great action, but it's more of
it's thoughtful. It's more thoughtful.
It's a little bit of a character piece with feeling.
When we look back at this phase of your career, will we call it the prequel phase? Because here you're doing, you know, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and you're also working on Oz the Great and Powerful, yes, which is a story leading up to what happened with the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, this is my prequel phase.
So some actors have a blue phase.
Yes.
You have a prequel phase.
Yes.
Tell me, I mean, you're still working on that movie, but what's going on with that?
Yes, we're filming that in Detroit. I flew in to New York for the weekend, but I'll be going back. We just We just started. We finished our first week. It's directed by Sam Raimi, who directed the first 3 Spider-Man films, and I play the young Wizard of Oz, and it's the story of how the wizard got there, before Dorothy came, and it's got Michelle Williams and Mila Kunis and Zach Braff and Rachel Weisz, and
I can't wait to see that one. And then the whole academic side of your life. Let me see if I have this straight. In May, you graduated with a master's in film from NYU, which adds to the other 2 master's degrees you already have, I believe. You're pursuing a PhD at Yale, and you've just started teaching a film course at NYU. And you teach driver's ed weekends in Brooklyn also, don't you?
No, I haven't driven in years since I moved to New York.
Do you have a license?
I guess I still have one, but
you might want to check that.
Yeah.
Might be expired. Good luck with everything, and congratulations.
Thanks, man.
It's always good to have you.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
It's a pleasure.